Welcome back to the Overcomfort Podcast, you guys. Thank you so much for choosing to be here. I am your host, Jenicka Lopez. I'm just very excited for this specific guest because she has brought so many good things to my life, and her story has impacted me, and I know she is not the only one in the world that is probably going through this. Maybe hers is just, her situation is a little bit different, but anyways. Morgan Hardman, gorgeous girl. I don't know, how did we meet? I don't even remember how we met, but I just remember loving you since the moment I met you.
Same. I tell you, you're literally one of my favorite people in the whole world. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and that's saying a lot coming from me. We actually met in my living room.
We did.
Val brought you, and it was all business.
It was, yes, we were talking about business, and then we just started having a personal relationship from there. What a lot of people don't know is that you are the reason why I found my biological father.
Yeah.
I'll give a little short story about that. Morgan was in the same situation as me, and she pushed me, and she also offered, and she was also just available and was that listening ear when I felt like no one understood me. And Morgan, when I had met her, she kind of just explained everything to me, and we just connected. And I think that's why we love each other so much. So she is the reason why I found my biological father, and helped me through that process. She is also why I know my realtor and why I'm also in this house, because without her, without Shanti, like I wouldn't have known or been in this position. So thank you.
I
love you. One of the main reasons why I wanted you to come on the podcast is because I obviously know a lot of your story, and there's probably still things that I don't know about because you kind of disappeared. But I kind of want to give, insight and, thank you, because I know it's not going to be very easy, but it's healed me, and your strength and your commitment to your family, to God, and who you are as a person is very inspiring, and I want to be able to share that, and obviously with your own time and your own space. But I do want to give the floor about who is Morgan Hardman, who was she, what does she do, and how did you come to where you are today?
So if I go back a little bit, I grew up in foster care. A lot of people don't know, but like a big part of my story that I'm not afraid to walk in my truth anymore about is what a lot of people don't know, and a big part of my story that I've actually never shared yet. It's actually going to be in my book, but I am going to share with you because you are family to me. Is a lot of people don't know that I don't know how to read and I don't know how to spell. And so for that reason alone, like I've always had a challenge in life, like just being able to get by. And so for most of my life, I was a personal assistant to Ray J. A lot of you guys know that. And I worked with a lot of other celebrities. I was an assistant director on set. I've been a PA on set. I've dabbed into the medical field.
Oh my God.
I've did a little bit of everything. And then obviously recently I've been blessed to be a part of a phenomenal industry, which is network marketing, which is where I landed like most of my success. I didn't need to know how to read or spell to be successful in this actual industry. And so I dominated that, but was secretly dying on the inside.
Yeah.
I did a season 11 hip hop. That wasn't really my thing, the television and the comments. I'm one who reads them. Unfortunately, I try so hard not to.
Like, I feel like that's the surface level of like okay, so let's go into, I think what we connect most on is obviously our fathers and all that. That situation for you, what was that like for you? What did you go through with that?
So for me, I said that I grew up in foster homes and group homes. So my mom was a drug addict, and she was also a prostitute. And I didn't know my father. And obviously my mom had a lot of men in and out of the house. And one day she'll say, "This was your dad." The next day she'll say, "Oh, that's your dad." And then when she gets upset with me, "Oh, your daddy didn't want you. He left when he found out I was pregnant with you." Just so much just evilness, And I always felt like I needed to know. And I always wanted to know who was my father. And when I was 18 years old, I ended up finding him. And he was there with open arms. Like, it was so opposite of what my mother told me he was. And he wanted to just embrace and love me. But I was in full reject mode. It was like I thought that's what I wanted, and I thought that I needed to fill that void at the time, but I was still skeptical. And the reason I was so skeptical was because I was told every man that walked through the door was my dad. So I was very serious about wanting a paternity test, and he didn't want to give me one. And so for years I would be like, why? Why don't you want to get, like, I can't child support you. You know what I mean? And to this day, I don't know why he wouldn't give me one, but I cut him off for a while. And it didn't exist to me still for years. And finally, years later, like right around the time I got married, he was like, listen, baby girl, if you wanted a paternity test, I'll give you one.
Wow.
I'll give you a paternity test, but you're my daughter no matter what. No matter what any paperwork says. And that's what he's always said to me,
Right.
you know? But I had to make him understand that's fine, but if my search isn't over, I need to know.
Yeah.
You
like you needed to
understood
heal
that.
that part of you.
You get that
I
more
get
than
it.
anybody.
1000%.
Right? And
Yeah.
so it wasn't anything personal to him. It's just my mom was a prostitute.
Yeah. You didn't know where to look or where to
No.
go.
And so his name was the name that was on my birth certificate. So thank God she did know that information.
Okay.
Right? So she had it right. And I've still to this day never got a paternity test. But what I did do was I went on Ancestry, kind of like what we did with you. And I found people on there that were related to him
Connected.
because I still wasn't okay with not having that paternity test.
Yeah.
But I did find people on there that had the same DNA as him. So then I was at ease. And since then, I've been okay with calling him dad. I've been okay with building a relationship with him, understanding that I had to undo all the lies my mom told me about him, who
Right.
he was, because that's so not who he is. He is such a great man of God, and he's always and always will pray for me. He's been praying for me. Even he said he always felt like he had a daughter out there. He just never knew where.
Okay, so he didn't know.
No, he had no clue I existed.
Right.
No clue. But from the moment we found him, which I found him through a lady named Dr. Lois Lee. She could track anybody down.
Right.
And from the moment I met him, he said he always knew he had a daughter out there somewhere.
Did that impact your relationship with your mom? And like, because for me, it was different because my mom wasn't here anymore, you know, so I didn't know how to manage that. But how was it, you know, obviously, like.
It wasn't different. My mom was gone. My mom died when I was 15.
You're right. I'm sorry. You're totally.
So I didn't get a chance to
Ask the questions.
be mad at her.
My mom died when I was 15 too. I totally forgot about that.
I didn't get a chance to, like,
Yeah.
there was just so many lies told that, you know, you never get the answer to it. You know, you can search, you can talk to people that knew them, you can try and understand why.
But you're just never going to get that fulfillment.
You're not, and the only thing that could fulfill you and take that pain away is the presence of God, is what I found.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, definitely.
So
But okay, so now that you have a relationship, and I'm asking like genuinely because I
Yeah.
feel like we've never really gotten this far. For me, it's still difficult to have that relationship because I think just the way I grew up, and obviously you've seen and you know, like the walls
you're precious.
are built high.
You're precious to people, and you're so good. Like, you're good. You are goodness. Like, if there is you're goodness, and you have to be protected, Jenicka, because
And that's where I feel like it's hard for me to let that wall down. And especially because even when I went to your house the first time, like we were both like bumping heads or like just walls, you know, and like you could feel it, you know, when
Yeah.
like there's walls built between people, like, okay. How did you let that wall come down for your dad?
honestly, I feel like I started to see more people with their fathers and see so many people without them. And I felt like I still have a living parent. And I want to be there. I want to be in his life. I want to be in photos. I want my kids to know who he is. I don't have family like that. I've made my own family. I always have. You know, it's always just been me and my brothers. And so anyone you hear me say, "Oh, that's my cousin," they're not by blood. You know what I mean?
They're your family.
Yeah, you're my family, and I made my own family my entire life. I've always done that, and so this was actually someone who was a part of my DNA, and it meant something to me, just to make it right. Like, I hear these songs by all these people about their father and dance with my father and all these, and I never had that, you know. And I remember as a little girl, I always just wanted a dad. So you have one now. Why not embrace him? And he's good. He's goodness. Like, he's a good person too. So what am I rejecting? Still holding on to all those memories and all those thoughts that my mom put in my head of my father that are so untrue. And so I just want love in my life right now. And I want someone who has authority to pray over me in my life. And he has authority.
Yeah.
It's my father. You know?
I think that's the beautiful part, though. All right, you guys, we're going to go on a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, you guys, welcome back. And I think that's where my personal relationship with my father kind of just like goes like it's.
Do you guys talk at all?
Sometimes. It's more, hey, how are you? And that's it. There's no.
But see, you have to understand too, you come from a way different world than
that, and that's totally fine. And which is what this year it was like he was very vulnerable and asked me like, are you gonna work on having a relationship with me, or like what is it? And I was like, yeah, I don't have like I'm gonna try. And I made that commitment to God. Like I said, you know what, God, like I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do what I can, but I'm not gonna push myself. I'm gonna respect my boundaries and be there as much as I can for, you know, and whatever relationship this is going to be, it's going to come from God.
My best advice to you on that is go at your pace. Mm-hmm. Go at your pace. Don't rush what you're not comfortable being in, because this is very new for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And your entire life, you thought one person was your father. You have memories with this person. You were raised because he passed away, right? Mm-hmm. And so for almost a decade, you thought both your parents were deceased.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to just turn around and love a stranger. It's so hard. I know that.
Yeah.
Because I could honestly say I just started telling my dad I loved him about a couple months ago. I never even said the word.
That's so scary.
I never even said the word dad. I would just be like, hey. Like, his name in my phone was Luther, because that's his name. And I just changed it to
and I
dad.
can't do that.
I know.
I can't.
I know.
It's weird.
I know. And people think like it's not. It's such a big deal. It's such a big deal, because it's like you've gone your entire life without this person, and then you're told this is your dad, and then now you're supposed to just hit it off from the gate. No, you got to learn this person, check the motive. Is there a motive? I remember at one point, and he's probably going to see this, but I remember at one point, he made a comment that didn't sit well with me, and I got scared of him for a while. And then there was a time when I was on Love and Hip Hop, and he was like, you need to change your last name to Craven. And I'm like, I just met you. Like, I'm not changing my last name to Craven.
Yeah.
You know, and those things pushed me further away, because I felt there was a motive. Mm-hmm. But then because my heart has always been hardened because of how hurt I've been my entire life. Right. And so when I started to get more filled with God, and I started to seek God more, it started to soften. It started to soften more.
Do you think, at least for me, when I think about it, I'm like, I feel like I would have done better. I think what fucked me up was that I found out as an adult.
I did too. I was 18.
Exactly. But
yeah.
if I found out when I was 16 or 15, I feel like it would be a lot different. Don't you think? Or what do you like?
Do you honestly, this is an honest question. I know this isn't my show.
Go for it.
But do you feel a part of you is not wanting a relationship with him because you don't want to hurt your father that's in heaven?
No. I feel like that last year I did. And that goes along with my siblings as well, because my siblings don't have their dad. Well, my older ones, their father's in prison, but we've always lived our lives with like, we don't have a dad. My mom always raised us, you know? I always had that in my mentality up until like end of last year, this year, where I was like, okay, I do need to make the change. Like, I do have someone that's alive and that knows me, and literally I wouldn't be here without that person. So, at times I'm like, damn, like I wish I knew when I was younger, so that way I can just grow into it and grow up with it and learn to live with it, versus now that I'm mature and I have all these thoughts in my head and like I'm scared and so many fears, like it pushes me away more. And
Have you guys tried therapy together?
no, I'm
What do
not
you
there
think
yet.
about that? That might help. That might help because you'll be able to things will be able to come out that you don't even know that are there on both ends.
Yeah.
You know? It's your pace though, Jenicka.
Yeah.
Don't let no one rush you into it. This is,
I agree.
but because I was there through the whole thing. So I even know how nervous you were on not wanting to know.
Yeah.
I know how you didn't even, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't know. And I'm like, no, like, what if, like, so I know that you have to go at your pace
Yeah.
and what's comfortable for Jenicka.
Yeah. Did it impact your relationships? Like growing up, like, or okay, well, your relationship with your parents, did it impact how your view on love with other people?
Honestly, I never wanted to be married. Never cared for it. It was never a dream of mine. Or you know how most kids, they want to be princesses and all this. Never wanted to be a princess. Never wanted to be married. Never wanted a wedding. Never pictured myself in a wedding gown. None of it.
Because of that?
Maybe. It could be. I mean, my mom had so many different boyfriends and just different men in and out of the house, allowed them to do whatever they wanted to me. And I, for a long time, I rejected men. And I honestly, I did an event with Tori Hart, Kyla Prep, April Jones, and there was another girl there. And it was an event at a high school where it was letters to our father. And it was basically a bunch of girls that had been sexually abused. And some of them didn't have their fathers there, and some of them did. And some of them were sexually abused by their fathers. And I'll never forget, I wrote a letter to my father. And in that letter, this was before, I had already met him. But in that letter, I blamed him for all of my mom's drug partners molesting me and for all the trauma that I went through as a child, because I felt like if I had a father, that I would have been protected.
Yeah.
And if I had a father, all of these years of my adulthood, I would not have had to walk in my masculinity to always protect myself. And I'm just now learning to be feminine. And that sucks.
Yeah, because you've always had to put that front.
Always. And it sucks. But it feels good now to recognize it. I'm one person, I'll recognize where I'm wrong, or I'll recognize what changes I need to make. And I just got sick of playing both roles always, And now I don't want to be masculine anymore. I don't want to protect
be a princess.
myself. Yeah, I want to be a princess. There you go.
You want someone to love you. Mm-hmm. And I think you deserve it. Absolutely. Because there's just so much, and maybe we'll get into it or whatnot, but yeah, Morgan, you are very tough. You are very you're bossy. Mm-hmm. You lead. Mm-hmm. It's your way or no way. Mm-hmm. But that's because of the way you grew up. Yeah. You had no one to depend on but yourself.
Yeah. I raised myself since I was 7. And I'm not exaggerating that. I got myself ready for school at 7. I took myself to school at 7. I did my own hair. I was in grocery stores stealing groceries to feed me and my brothers. I raised myself since I was 7 years old. And I was very scared of my mom, which I never asked for anything. I never had a birthday, never was celebrated, Never was told I was beautiful, never was told anything. And so, yeah, I've been in many abusive relationships. So you, at some point, you got to be tough.
You have to.
You have to
have
protect
thick
yourself. And it sucks because I'm just tired. I'm tired of always being taken advantage of, still having a good heart. And I'm tired of walking in my masculinity. And God blessed me with an amazing person recently who I've learned so much from and has literally helped me to be feminine,
Yeah.
you know? And I don't think if I didn't go through what I've gone through, that I wouldn't have got to where I am today,
I agree.
you know? But life is scary and it's hard, especially when you're alone.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't had the support of my brothers. It's always been what they can get from me. And so I've just always been alone.
Yeah.
And just me and my son until I had my beautiful girls, you know?
Was it hard for you to have kids though? Because I remember it was like, well, after the third one, it was just,
Girl.
you couldn't believe it.
So, for one, I wasn't even supposed to be able to have no more kids. So, that was a miracle in itself. Araya, me having my oldest daughter was definitely a miracle. And she just brought so much peace to my life. And it was like a reset came over me when she was born. And I'll be honest, a lot of people don't know either. The whole time I was pregnant with her, I was in a deep depression. Like, I was going to commit suicide. Like, I was literally in therapy twice a week because I was scared that I was going to fail as a mother to a daughter. I was scared that I was going to become my mom. And my mom was so good to my brothers, but just so horrible to me. And it was traumatizing when I found out I was having a daughter. And so it was nerve wracking. And I was in therapy and I slipped into a deep depression. And then I had her and life was just,
She changed everything.
she changed everything in me to where nothing around me painful existed. I didn't care. And that's why for so long I didn't know what was going on around me because I was just in love, you know, like true love all over again. She literally just became my blanket. Like,
Your security.
That's why she's so spoiled now. It's like she's just so used to me, like just all up on her, you know. She became my security blanket for so long, and she was just peace. And then Adele came along, and I was not prepared for that. Didn't want any more kids. Was not planned, but I couldn't see life without her either. And now I have to live my life knowing that I have two little girls that are watching me as a woman and how I act as a woman, not as a masculine tomboy who I've always been my entire life since a little girl because I only have brothers. I'm the only girl. But I have to be more affectionate too. I'm not affectionate.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm not. Even like, I've had people come hug me and I'm like, I give the side church hugs, like, hey, what's up? And I've had to learn how to be affectionate, let them lay on me, hugs, cuddles, be girly. Like, it's so weird. But
Was that because, sorry to cut you off, but you don't receive affection? Was that because like of abuse?
I've
more?
been told that through psychiatrists and therapists that it's from the sexual abuse and the physical abuse. Never had my mom. My mom's never hugged me, you know?
So it's just kind of like a ball of everything then.
If my kids were not here, I wouldn't be here. Long time ago.
How was it? Because you had Corey, which is her first son, the oldest, the eldest. Was it hard raising a boy? No.
I have all brothers.
Oh well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so it wasn't hard raising a boy, but at times I was tougher on him, so that way I didn't like I wasn't that mom that was like, hey, what do you think of these shoes I got on? You know, like I didn't do any of that. I was more like a dude with him because I wanted him to be able to be masculine. You know what I mean? And I wanted him to have a shot at being a boy. You know, I don't know how to say that without like offending anybody, but that's just me. Like, I wanted to make sure that my son had a chance, and I didn't put all these things in his head like, hey, you know, how, you know, does mommy look pretty in this dress? I didn't want to do that to him.
All right, you guys, we're going to go on a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, you guys, welcome back. Morgan is a freshly single mom of 3, so.
Ah,
But you are talking about raising your boys to be boys, Corey. And I think at me being around, I love how Corey protects you now. Like I feel like he's become your safe space.
you
as
ain't
a
seen
well.
nothing.
He's like been he's quiet and he knows
Yeah,
when to say his part.
he does. He does. He's a great kid.
And so how's that relationship? Because you had him how young?
I was 18 when I had him. Oh my God. And I begged to keep him.
Oh.
I begged.
Did you know he was a boy?
I did.
Okay.
I did know he was a boy like when I was 2 months pregnant. And the family, his dad's side, his grandmother, she's like my mother now. They were all trying to force me to get an abortion. And I pulled her to the side and I said, listen, if you let me have him, I will never child support him. I will never ask for help. I will never anything. I need somebody to love me. I need him. And she let me keep him.
You felt like that was a sign from God?
Yeah, I mean, I needed him. I did. I was so just lost and alone in the world. I was literally on my own. My mom had died when I was 15. I was living with my aunt for a little while. Well, it's not my real aunt, but I was living with someone for a little while. And some things happened there. I ran away. Something very traumatic happened to me. And when I ran away, and then I ended up meeting my son's father a little bit after, and we were in love. Like we were in love, you know. He was a really good guy in the beginning, and then started off with the push, started off with the pull, it started off with the names, and then just full on 5-year abusive relationship. And you know, I had someone come up to me and tell me, if you don't get out of this, you know, either your son's going to become a woman beater, because his dad's dad was, or you're going to end up dead.
The generational trauma.
And so I left that week and never went back.
How do you do, like, I just don't know where you find that strength. And I think even till this day, to what you've been up, till what you've been through till this day.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, when is enough? You
Now.
know?
Now. That's it for me. I'm not attracting it anymore. I think I was attracting trauma, and I was attracting damaged people and toxic people, you know, because I feel like I had a lot of stuff about me that was toxic and didn't realize it. And
Just normal.
yeah. And like I said, I'm one person. When there's something wrong with me or I need to die to self, I'm the first one to be like, I will reevaluate myself immediately and correct myself. Maybe not in public, maybe not right here. Like if you're cussing me out, I won't, I'll shut down or I'll pop back off with you. But when I go home,
You'll sit with
I'm sitting with it and I'm over analyzing it and it's consuming me, you know? And, I felt like it's a spiritual warfare out there as well. And I feel like I've always been the devil's target because my true calling and my purpose. And I had no idea how big my calling was and my purpose. And so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But he should have took me out when he had the chance. Because now I can identify what's evil. And now I can identify what's toxic and what's not for me and what's not safe and what's not good, you know, and not healthy. Before, I just wanted love so bad that I didn't care how it looked or how it felt or if it came with a punch or if it came with a slap or if it came with narcissism. I just wanted to be loved.
And you've got it. People fall back into cycles or fall back into what they grew up with because that's exactly what it is. You grew up with it. You're comfortable with the abuse. You were comfortable with the hate. as long as you sensed a little bit of love.
Exactly.
And when did that shift for you?
Honestly, when I met somebody, you know, I was separated now would be a year and 2 months. And so 2 months into the separation, I met somebody. And it was, for me, I felt like it was an angel sent from God. And I know many people may think, oh, but you were actually still in marriage. So no, it was an angel. It was an angel sent from God because I didn't know how to love myself, and I didn't know. I feel like I never had anyone care enough to see me. And I feel like my entire life I was just existing.
You're surviving.
I've always just been surviving. And this person came into my life and brought me to life. And I tell this person all the time, like, they literally brought me back to life. Because for the first time I'm almost 40, nobody ever loved me like that. Nobody ever saw me. Nobody ever prayed over me. Nobody ever encouraged me the way that this person did. No one ever protected me the way that this person did. And, you know, I'm forever grateful. I really am, because they taught me how to pray. I was comfortable enough to tell this person I didn't know how to read. They taught me how to read the Bible. You know, like, that is so big to me.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to now say I could read the Bible, and God sent me an angel just to guide me through this process, you know, and to help me through it. And I'm thankful that that person was there, because I went through 7 years of hell. Literally 7 years of hell.
You did. And I'm so proud that you got out of it.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. I'm so like, and I'm just amazed, because I know that there's people watching or listening, and people that have been through what you've been through, or maybe even worse, or maybe even a little less. But there's always a message in this pain that you went through. What are your, like, 3 things, like, say again, this people watching or listening, and or maybe even your friends didn't even know, friends that, or whatever, maybe they did. What are things that you could say that you've learned in this lifetime, like, that you carry on to this day?
Money could never fulfill you. Only the presence of God can do that.
Okay.
Because I have so many people who were like, you're walking away with nothing? Like, are you kidding me? Girl, I gave back my Bentley. That's how much I did not care. I wanted out. I gave back my Bentley.
Yeah, none of that superficial shit doesn't matter.
I walked away from a $5.5 million house that's still sitting in Miami. Didn't care. To become a renter. I still own the house. I'm still part owner of the house. But my sanity, I was mentally going crazy. I was about to kill myself numerous times. And I'm just like, for me, depression is serious because it runs in my family. My grandmother killed herself from her husband committing adultery. You know, my grandmother committed suicide from it. And so I know that, you know, that there's an effect there. But I also know that God is more powerful, and I seek him in those times. You know what I mean? But it was like I was mentally losing my mind. I had went through so many deaths back to back.
You did.
And, you know, my son and his girlfriend broke up, and that was like my daughter. That devastated me more than half the deaths that I went through, because I love her. I love her. And to this day, I'm always going to love her.
I remember.
You know, that was my daughter's girlfriend. And when I met her, you know, God spoke to me about her. She had been through what I had been through with mom dying. And so I wanted to just take care of her, you know, and that's who I am.
Yeah.
And so I think the deaths woke me up too, to not just exist and to actually live.
There's one thing of people saying it like this gonna, you know, this should teach you something or whatever, and then it actually hitting you.
And it hit me. I looked around and I was in a depression for a year when my best friend died. And then, you know, there was a guy that I had been in love with my entire life, and he was murdered. Before any of the deaths, he was the first one. And that hit me hard because out of respect for my marriage, I didn't show up to the funeral. And I could never get that moment back, and only to find out what was still going on was still going on.
Yeah.
And I was over here trying to be so loyal, and no one was being loyal to me. And so I didn't go to the funeral. And then he actually was cremated.
Yeah.
So there was no, like, obviously the
Place to
spirit,
go
the
to.
spirit went up to heaven anyways, but there was just no place to go get the closure, you know, even after the split, you know. But, you know, I ended up, you know, someone close to me that was like a brother passed away, and then I had to be the one to orchestrate the entire funeral and plan the entire funeral, and it just was so draining. It was just dark, and just there was just it just felt like something was going on around me that I couldn't see with my eyes, and I needed to be set free from it.
Like, I feel like your emotions were taking advantage in a very vulnerable position. Like, your emotions were already fucked up with all these deaths. Here's this person. Let me make it a little bit worse while she's not looking.
And then we all know I moved to Miami to be closer to the church and to fix my situation. And that wasn't what I thought it was. And so I was angry at God for an entire year.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, in the midst of all of this, how was it, like, how did you manage to still, I don't know, live or focus or still believe, like, that God was, like, there?
I didn't for a year until he sent me the angel. I couldn't pray. I was angry at God. When I lost my best friend, Ronnie Hillman, I literally watched him take his last breath.
Yeah.
I was there with him when he was on hospice, was there when he got diagnosed. That was one of the only people who always had my back no matter what.
Yeah.
Just never saw no wrong in me, ever. And I was angry at God. That was an understatement. I couldn't pray. I felt like I was obedient. There was a time in my life where I was too religious. I wasn't listening to worldly music. I stopped hanging out with my worldly friends. I wasn't having no wine, no drink. Like I was overwhelming with this Christianity. It was like,
that
girl,
was the Morgan I met.
Pipe down, girl. Like, it's okay to live. I was not living either. And so I was too religious, and it was like, you're so religious, but there was so much stuff going on behind closed doors. You know, and it was just like, when is God showing up? Where is he in this relationship right now? Because I'm not seeing it, you know? And when I moved to Miami, there were so many people who told me that God told them that I should move out there. And I listened.
Yeah.
And I moved my entire life. Sold my home that I built from the ground up, my only sanctuary to me. Like, that was my security blanket. I built that house to move into a house that was just so demonic. I don't care how. And it was a 12,000 square foot piece of shit, if I can be honest and say that on here. You know, it was nothing. Nothing.
It wasn't a home.
Was never. It felt like a long, extended Airbnb stay. You came to the house. You came there. There was no love in there. There was no matter how many nights I cooked and posted on social media, it never felt like a home. Ever. And so I was angry at God because I was obedient. And it was like the only thing that was driving that situation was money. And I was sick of it. I was sick of it. I would have rather moved into a Section 8 low income apartment than continue to live like that. To continue to live in hell and to mentally be going crazy. Because narcissism is real.
Because you were abused.
Yeah. And I didn't know, I had no clue what narcissism even was until last year. I had no clue.
Yeah.
And I went on a 21-day fast to make sure that I was making the right decisions, the right decision on leaving. I had been separated for over a year. And a person could persuade you to think you're ruining your family, you're destroying your girls, you're doing this, you're doing that. Oh, you're gonna fail, you're gonna fall flat on your face. And I started to question that. And so I went on a 21-day fast and I really asked God if I was making the right decision moving back here. And if I was making the right decision leaving, and if I was making the right decision putting myself first. And I tell you, as soon as that 21-day fast was over, God revealed everything to me. Everything. And I've never in my life, and I'm 39 now, have I ever been this happy. In this moment right now, I'm at peace. You ever just feel like you can't breathe or like you're just stuck and you might as well be dead?
Yeah.
That's literally how I felt. And I can't go all the way into details on like every trauma that I just came out of, you know? But I will, you know, and I never put my book out because I wasn't telling the truth in the end.
It wasn't over. The story wasn't over.
Yeah,
the reason why all those publishings.
Everything just kept like, it was crazy because everybody's like, oh, the book's not out yet? When's the book coming out? And I'm just like, I don't feel that it's time.
All right, you guys, we're going to go on a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, you guys, welcome back. Because I remember when all that book publishing, you couldn't find this person, that person. Morgan, your story wasn't over. And it's still not over. That little thin book that you gave me to read, that thin-ass book is probably going to be like this. I remember getting a sample for the book, and she's like, read it, let me know what you think.
Did I give you the Spanish version or the English?
The English.
Okay.
But I remember, and I'm like, it's so small. There's so much of Morgan, and then this, it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. And as a friend and as someone that I know a good amount of the story, and I know a little, I would say the surface of what happened and before and after, like, I'm so grateful to God you are back in LA. Your girls are safe. Corey's a grown man, doing his thing, responsible, but you are doing a good job. And you are doing the best that you could have done then, little Morgan, with Corey, and with these two girls now.
Thank you.
You're doing the best you could as a mother and even still as a friend to other people. Because I think now it's your time.
Yeah.
There comes a point in your life where you got to stop showing up for other people and be there for yourself.
That's what I've realized.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Morgan, you have to. It's done. You're done.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And this goes for everybody else as well. Like, you got to stop worrying about what people are going to say, what people are going to do, and just live your life how you want to do it.
Yeah.
Find that peace. Nothing is more important than the peace that you have in your heart. And that's what I've learned in this year too. Like, I'm done satisfying other people or sacrificing my happiness or my time, because time is too precious.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done wasting my time on people that do not respect me, that do not care, or do not think that I have the capability. No, baby, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, time is too precious. You are too precious to be letting your time and your mental space go to waste.
Yeah, no, I'm checked out of it. Like what I feel now, I know now what I've been chasing my entire life, which was happiness, and that's within.
And it took you what, 40 years to get it?
Almost, girl. Give me my little month.
She's like, give me one more month.
No, I got all the way till February. Give me my months in my 39.
Okay. 39 years.
Yes, give me my months. You know, because I learned so much in these last, like, I want to say like 6 months than I've learned in a lifetime. Even with like, for me, I feel like people take the cheating lightly. And why I say that is because during my fast, a lot of people, like I was really chunky these last 7 years, 6 years. And I've never been chunky in my life. Like I'll have kids and then 2 years later I'll lose the weight, but I've never been a chunky person ever. And after my fast, I went on this very crazy spiritual fast. I lost 20 pounds on my fast. And when I tell you, this may sound weird, I was throwing up foam. I was throwing up all kinds of demonic nesting. Because what people don't understand is when you're out here and you're just sleeping with whoever you want to sleep with, you don't know what God they're worshiping. You don't know if they're doing voodoo to the max. Like, you don't know what voodoo they're doing, what witchcraft they're doing, and all of that is jumping not only on you, but your partner as well. And then whoever they've been with, all of that is tied to you.
That's a real thing.
Second I got off my fast, girl, there's no way I lost 20 pounds in 2 weeks. Explain. Anybody want to explain that?
No.
Because it wasn't Ozempic. Or
like
semaglutide, because I was on that at first. That didn't do nothing for me. Probably lost like 5 pounds on that thing.
Really?
It did nothing. It did nothing.
Okay.
It did nothing. And that was in October of last year, right? I went on a 21-day fast. The first week I didn't lose no weight. That picture I posted the before.
Was a detox for you.
That picture I posted the before and after, the photo where I was a little chunkier, that was week 1 that I had knocked down. The last 2 weeks I lost 20 pounds. And that was because of all the demons that had been on me. And when I tell you I shook them things like, girl, I got that out of there. Like, here, you can keep all this with you.
5 years, only 20 pounds. It should have been a little bit more. No, but girl, for real, you detoxed everything out. You let it out.
From childhood and all of it. It wasn't just the 5 years.
No.
It was, I felt peace and fulfilled for the first time in my life.
So what are you looking forward to now?
I'm looking forward to my purpose and my calling. I'm looking forward to being a light for women. I know you say I'm done, but I'm done being that extra hand, but I'm nowhere near done when it comes to my calling, and my calling is women.
Yeah,
and
it always has been.
And I need to show women that they're strong enough. You know what I'm saying? I need to be a voice for them to stand up for themselves and to not just stay stuck and to not just exist. And so I'm going to focus on the book, and I'm going to focus on my calling, my ministry, and just really get to work because my daughters are still watching me. And I've been told I'm going to fail. And so I got to give everybody a show.
There you go. There you go. That's the only way to do it. And I cannot wait to see it.
I love you.
And I love being 10 minminutes away from you whenever, ever.
Can I get some spaghetti, please? You guys have no idea. She has the best spaghetti in the world.
But are you done with fasting, though? So I can make it for you or no?
No, I'm actually on another 21-day fast.
Here we go.
I'm on week 2 right now. So after next week, I'm coming over for some spaghetti.
Yes.
I'm actually on another 21 right now.
All right.
Because
whatever you gotta do.
He moved mountains for me. And so now I need him to show me what it is he wants me to do.
Yeah.
And what my purpose is. I know what my purpose is, but what direction? Do you still want me to do my business that I've been doing for 7 years? Or is it time for me to walk away from that? Is it time for me to just focus solely on women empowerment? I need to know. And the only way to do that is to silence everything around me. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Punching the mic.
No, but it's really that. It's like you got to come back to you, come back to God, and figure out exactly what the path is.
Exactly.
And I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
And I thank you. I know that this wasn't easy to do. I know that we had a little hiccups with the baby, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful for you in so many ways, Morgan. You have no idea.
Thank you,
I have
Jenicka.
nothing but good things to say about you, other than that you're crazy, crazy bitch a little bit sometimes.
I don't play. Listen,
No.
business is business, and that's always gonna be what it
No,
is. You
but
can't get over on me.
I'm grateful for everything that you've done for me and you've taught me, and being that voice in my life. And I can't thank God enough, because you are a light. I love you
too.
so much, and I want people to have the opportunity to follow you, to follow your story. What is your social? Morgan Hardman? Can't they?
Morgan Hardman.
Morgan Hardman
on Instagram.
on Instagram. If you guys needed a light or a voice, or if you're in a dark situation, please know that you are not alone. There's other women, Morgan being an example. You are not alone. God is with you, and I thank you so much.
Thank you, my love, for having me.
Here, and I love you. And please make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. If you guys need any help, I'm gonna leave a domestic violence hotline, suicide hotline, everything in the descriptions. That way, you guys can take a look at that. Therapy as well. It's so important. But other than that, thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys next Tuesday. Bye. Overcomfort Podcast is a production of iHeart's My Cultura podcast network.